actually devise that plan. So saying I will have 5 servings of vegetables is great. It's more specific than I want to eat better, because it gets a little bit more specific than that. But where are we going to have those 5 servings of vegetables? What are we going to eat? I might say, okay, could we devise a plan that says I'm going to plan to have, a serving of vegetables at breakfast, 2 servings at lunch, and 2 servings at dinner. And then I'm going to utilize, broccoli, green beans, and kale, or whatever it is. But getting very specific on it. Or I'm going to exercise at 6 a.m. I'm going to do 20 minutes of walking, and getting really specific on what it is we're going to do. Because sometimes that plan, or lack of plan, is what sometimes fails us. Is saying like, okay, I'm going to exercise at 6 a.m., but I don't know what I'm doing. Or I have people who, start with signing up for a gym membership, saying I'm going to go to the gym, a few times a week, but they don't feel comfortable at the gym, or they don't have a plan of what they're going to do, and then that kind of prevents the starting. So we want to be able to know what we're going to do, so it's easy to start that.
Or come to the library 3 times a week for exercise.
Yeah.
We have it 5 days a week.
There you go. Perfect. All right, what is the next slide? It is, okay. So, the stage of change theory is based on the idea that change occurs slowly. Relapse is common, which we'll talk about, and that we're accepting where we're at is key to being successful. So there's 6 stages in kind of developing a new habit, new normal, and we'll talk about that relapse one, because that can sometimes scare people a little bit. All right. So the 6 stages are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and relapse. We'll go into I know that I'm gonna feel better because I did it. I'm gonna have more energy, I'm gonna be happier, just because I feel happier when I exercise, right? I feel better about myself, gonna be more energized. So I got up and did it, right? But that's my personal strategy of thinking, okay, how am I gonna feel later in the day having done this or not? Everyone's gonna have a different strategy. I think this kind of goes along with the other question of, am I rewarding my successes? So my reward is that I feel better. It's totally fine to use external rewards, especially at the beginning, to help with our habits. Because that's the thing, is that it really is all about forming these habits, making it easy and doable to begin with, and then that usually provides motivation over time, and then it becomes your new normal. So you can say, okay, my goal is to drink, I don't know, 50 ounces of water every day. And then say we succeed and we do that for a week. And then we can reward ourselves with, okay, I'm going to buy myself. My first thought was like
shoes.
A new pair of shoes. But I was like, that's kind of a lot for like just drinking water. But
for me, shoes.
Yeah, or a new water bottle. Yes, exactly. It could be anything that you like. I might say like, oh, I'm going to buy myself a new house plant because that's what I like. So it could be anything, and that is an external reward. But you continue to do that, and it's kind of this thing that you're looking forward to. I think eventually those external rewards, we stop needing them, and it becomes more internal of, okay, I'm seeing, the strength that I'm gaining. I'm seeing that my blood pressure, my blood sugar is going down by eating healthier meals, and that kind of provides that motivation or momentum to continue. But it very might well start as external rewards. It could be anything, as long as we are rewarding those successes. And I think I'll talk about this later again, but just while I'm thinking about it, is that we can, recognize any success. So I'll often hear people say, I say they wanted to lose like, 3 pounds a week, and they only lost 2, and then they tell me like, oh, I only lost 2 pounds. I'm like, fucking bless you. Like, that is a success. Or, I wanted to exercise 5 days a week and I only did 2. Okay, 2 is better than 0, right? So that is still a success. So still recognizing and rewarding those positive changes. But most importantly in this stage is asking ourselves, do we feel like a tourist in this new world, with this new change, or do we feel like it's a home? Do we feel like it's a natural fit? Because if we feel like a tourist or an imposter, it might not be sustainable long term. We want it to feel like it becomes our new normal. That's just, again, all about adjusting. But a key thing here is, and this could be like a whole other topic on its own, but that mindset is key. So if we say we want to be someone who exercises or someone who eats healthy, we have to believe and tell ourselves, I'm a person who exercises. This is the type of person I am. Because if we constantly think like, oh, I'm not, say it's, I don't know, the only example coming to my mind is like running, like, oh, I'm not a runner. Okay? We always tell ourselves that, we're never going to be a runner. But if we say, no, I'm a runner, earned any stars. So I'm thinking of like a lot of candy, chips, things like that. They tend not to earn stars. Even cheese doesn't usually earn stars just because it is higher in saturated fats. Doesn't mean these foods are bad or we shouldn't eat them or that they're unhealthy. It just means that, okay, we're not going to make them the bulk of our diet. We might eat them more sparingly. Some foods will earn 1 star, which means that it has good nutrition.
one that you see on there and you're interested, let me know. We have had the cooking for one or two, and we had the plant-based the last time.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My struggle is I never eat breakfast.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get better about that, but I go somewhere to exercise every morning, whether it's pickleball or here or whatever, and I don't eat, and the other day I ate and I felt like crap. Well, I thought I was gonna throw up the whole time I was in the class, so
Yep.
how do I get up earlier and eat, or do I don't wanna eat after, cause by the time I get home, it's almost lunchtime.
Gotcha.
So I don't eat breakfast, then I'm
Yep.
starving by lunch.
Yes. So it totally depends. You could, like, if you're feeling like you need something, you could have, like, I always recommend, like, a handful of cereal or half a banana or something just with carbohydrates in it, because that is going to digest really easily. Something that's too high in protein or fiber or fats, just takes longer to digest. So if you're eating and then trying to, like, exercise, your body's kind of like trying to do two things at once, and it's gonna feel yucky. Or just exercise on an empty stomach, which I understand. My husband can eat a meal and, like, immediately exercise, and I'm like, wow, I need like 2 or 3 hours before I exercise after eating. So if you feel better not eating, that's really fine, as long as you've, had enough nourishment the night before, and then I would just take something with you to eat after. So maybe it is something like a Chobani Complete or a protein shake or a protein bar, or hard-boiled eggs and a banana and some peanut butter, something packable. Because of course, waiting until lunchtime, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry, especially having exercised.
Thank you.
Yeah, does that help?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'll kind of get some samples
Great.
ready for you guys, but just ask me questions.